appreciate you guys showing up. I am Matt. With me here is Lauren, and a little bit about us is, was anybody here at our Supernatural panel last year at Megacon? You were? Oh my God.
We do not have
pie or
candy, but thank you for coming back. I did not read the fine print last year. You're not supposed to bring food to these panels. But I do have Supernatural stickers for when we do some trivia. So I was going to bring mini pies again, and I followed the rules this year.
We see you peeking through the door. If you like Supernatural, this is the place for you. You should totally do it. Yeah. Good choice. This is the best panel of the weekend. Was anybody at the Supernatural cast panel? That was awesome. I probably could have stayed there and listened to them talk all day, and somehow I have developed, while I was watching the show, so preface this with, I just finished watching the show for the first time ever. Last year when you saw me, I was like season 10. Yeah, it took me a whole other year to finish, I'm sorry. I was on this journey for like 2 years. We have done a podcast together called Hops Geek News for 5 years now, and she had talked about Supernatural for the longest time, and I would always make fun of her. Oh, here we go, Supernatural again. And then one January night, I was like, January sucks. So let's put on this stupid show that she won't shut up about and see what it's all about. And here we are, 2 years later, finished it, and I'm talking as we're leaving.
And he's wearing flannel.
I'm wearing flannel. I have the Moose and Squirrel shirt, you know, no big deal. I got pictures with Ruth and Mark, and we also did DJ, who was like the nicest human being on earth. And then after the panel, I wanted to just hug Jared or have him hug me and hold me in his big, strong arms because he seems like the nicest guy ever. I think I would be crushed now. And I wish I could go back in time. Like, I gotta get down that photo op too. So Lauren, have fun on the panel by yourself. I got a place to go.
All right, so yes, thank you so much for coming. We have been documenting his road so far, so we've recorded up to season 11, and tonight we're actually, because we named this panel the Angels, the Demons, and the Idjits. So we're going to go over the highest rated. We're going to talk a little bit about the lowest rated and some of our underrated, because we all hear the same old Baby's phenomenal and the musical one's phenomenal, and they are.
Suck.
But there are always those little ones that people have that just stand out to you. And if you have a comment, a question, or anything, raise your hand. We will be doing a little bit of trivia. And I have my 2 daughters here. They're on standby to pass out stickers if you participate at all, or if you just want to get a sticker after the panel and you don't want to talk at all, that's also allowed. So did anybody by any chance go to the Supernatural Con in November? The one here in Orlando? Has anybody been to a Supernatural Con? They're intense. I went to my first one here in November, and they are intense. But it is also, don't bring minors to those. Oh my goodness. There was a couple stories that, if you watch The Boys too, they talk about
the boys. It couldn't get worse than DJ talking about almost cutting his wings off.
I heard that story at the con. It did get much, much worse, because they talked about Chuck's scene in The Boys a lot.
Good Lord, good heavens.
So let's kick it off with, we're going to start with the Angels. So these are the top 10 highest rated episodes per IMDb. I'm assuming we're all mega fans in here, so we'll just give a little quick shout out to the episode, and then we're going to do fun facts. We're big on fun facts on our podcast. So the number 10 is Don't Call Me Shirley. So that's when the darkness is released, and you see the fog everywhere. It's not when she's released, but then Chuck ends up revealing himself to the boys. So the little Samulet is glowing, and they're like, holy crap, you're God. So a fun fact in this is while talking to Metatron, Chuck says he was busy writing another book series called Revolution. Revolution was actually a TV show written by Eric Kripke, who is also the creator/writer of Supernatural. So one of the things that's amazing about the show is all the fun facts and the details and how much love and attention they put into every episode. So that's what I love about these fun facts.
I think so too. Like every episode is a callback to some sort of pop culture reference, musical thing. And I didn't recognize that at first, and as we're going, I was like, hey, this is a song, and Laura's like, yeah, that's the point. Read the notes. She does all the notes.
I told you
just show up and read the
ago.
teleprompter, and she's like, yeah, you didn't know that? I spoiled that 3 years ago. And I'm like, I listened.
I told him the entire ending 3 years ago, and he didn't remember. He was still shocked when he watched it.
Right in front of you. Right in front of me the whole time. But yeah, the number 9 is Baby, which is one of my personal favorites. If you know that, it's the episode that's shot completely inside the car. And I love that because the car, Baby, is just as much a part, living, breathing piece of the show. Kind of, Gotham City is to Batman, kind of what Baby is to Dean and Sam. And so that is just one of the best, the way the camera worked and the fight going on outside the car as Cass is on the phone there and he's just sitting on the seat.
Wait, Dean, I heard a gunshot.
Exactly. It's just so good. And so we actually have some trivia on this one, Lauren. What was the name of the monster they were fighting? It required a copper penny to be in its mouth.
I had to search this one up and I'm still not sure how to remember it. Do you know it? If anybody knows it, raise your hand. Ooh. Okay, it is a Noxire, Nachzeher. Nachzeher. We only see that monster once. We never see it again.
There we go. Yeah, you know what? In simple terms, a werefire. There we go. Thank you. We're all sitting here like,
you
what?
might say.
She's saying words? I don't know.
She's saying words. All right, number 8, fan fiction. If you walked in here, when we walked in here, we were playing the musical, which you need to rewatch that because you didn't know what song it was right away. So fan fiction, I don't even need a description. I feel like when you say the musical episode, does anybody not know what episode I'm referring to? Okay.
See, now they're all afraid to say anything because you're up here publicly shaming me. So nobody's going to raise their hand now.
We are not one of those podcasts that's like, if you don't watch every single thing of Star Wars, you're not a Star Wars fan.
We
You
actually
can watch
have
one thing and be a Star Wars fan. So same with Supernatural.
We have a whole section dedicated to the things that we messed up on when people call us out, and we fix those mistakes because you know what? I don't know. Listen to me pronounce anybody's name. There you go. You'll get like 5 mistakes right there off the bat.
Yeah, so we do give you a shout out if you hit us up and you're like, because how many times have you been listening to a podcast and somebody's saying something wrong or they can't think of something and you're yelling at your like radio or your phone? So we give you that opportunity to yell at us and then we shout you out in the next podcast. So we have one friend who usually does it almost every week and we call that our Stanley cameo.
Yes. It's our Tim Stanley cameo.
Here's your Tim Stanley cameo for the panel.
You even made it into the panel team. Congratulations.
So one of the fun facts for the musical episode is when the girl playing Dean complains about the Samulet hitting her tooth, that was actually a nod to why the Samulet disappeared on the show because Jensen would often forget to put the rubber one on during a scene and it would hit his teeth.
Never leave home without your rubber kids. The next one, issue 7, comic books. Jeez, we already mentioned, my goodness. We love comic books. But number 7, Lazarus Rising. Now, Dean is back from hell. Which time?
With a
He
much
dies.
deeper voice.
Yes. He's angry. He's back from hell. And Cass is here.
Yay!
Yes. And Cass is here in our panel, actually.
Yay!
Yes. So, from that point, yeah, does anybody know what Misha thought he was auditioning for?
It was not an angel.
What was it?
A demon.
Yes, he thought he was going into audition to be a demon because angels were new, and so they wanted to keep it quiet. And this was actually the first episode.
She-Hulk. He looked awesome.
The first episode of the show stopped using film, and that's when they switched to digital. Actually, fun fact. And, you know, the first few seasons of the show, or the first season of the show, very graded differently. Everything's a lot duller, darker, which I personally love. Gives it that like rustic feel. In some regards, I don't know how do you feel about the switch to digital? She's not even nervous.
No, I'm listening to you.
She's like, wow, the sun's out.
It has been really cold in here. No, I like how dark they went, but I think it's funny too. We'll get into the Hollywood Babylon. They actually made fun of it because CW, or it was even WB at first, was like, make it brighter, it's too dark. And so they made fun of the WB and CW in Hollywood Babylon because they're like, the studio is complaining this is too dark. But anybody listen to the Then and Now podcast? So they've talked about it on there. That's Gabriel and Chuck's podcast where they're going through and watching the show for the first time. And there's so much behind the scenes and technical on that. And so they've had, I think it's Serge is the guy that does the footage, and he always wanted it dark, and they always had to brighten it up. But I mean, the show, it's crazy to think that they were still shooting on film the first few seasons. They only have to move to digital just for finance reasons.
I thought you were going to tell me Zack Snyder quit working on the show, that's why I got it brighter.
Well, yeah, it was because he wanted me to marry Martha, and they were like, "We're not naming her Martha, Zach. Get over this."
Yellow Eyes is like, Martha, why did you say that name? This, actually, another fun fact, this Genevieve Pavlicki, this is the first appearance of her as Ruby. She was here this weekend as well. Did anybody get to see her and meet her at all?
I saw it from afar.
Me too. I was like, hey, that's my favorite thing. And I'm also tall. I'm like 6'4", and so I can see over all the crowds. So it's like, look at all of these people here. It's awesome. And everybody else is like, I can't wait. What are you talking about? I can't see anything. The perks. The perks.
That scene, I think, is so underrated. And it's one of those scenes that you don't catch it when you watch it the first time. Like when Ruby opens the door, she knows who Bobby and Dean are. And she goes, "Where's the pizza?" And she knows exactly who they are, but we don't know that the first time we watch it because we don't know that's Ruby. And then she pretends like Sam forgot her name. And she's like, "My name's whatever," she said. I don't remember what she said her other name was. And again, that's hilarious. And it's not funny unless you know she's Ruby. So I remember watching it the second time and I'm like, oh, she's funny. So what's number 6?
Guess I'm going to have to go back to that one too. Write this down.
It's better every time you watch the show.
Now, the number 6 is All Hell Breaks Loose, Part 2. This is the Season 2 finale where John escapes hell with a lot of demons. Yellow Eyes gets stabbed. That he had it coming. And in this episode, Sam's dead. before, Dean makes a deal, one of the various times where Sam and Dean, die. When I said that originally, I was like, oh no, Dean died. And Laura was like, yeah, that's gonna happen a lot. It's like, oh, so this means nothing. You get all sad and emotional, and she's like, yeah, because what do you mean? There's 15 seasons. Of course he's not staying dead. I should have known.
Well, and I love when friends are watching it and they're like, oh my god, so and so died. And I'm like, so yeah.
I'm shocked. Here's my shocked face.
Okay.
When he first died, though, it was different.
Yes.
But knowing there's 15 seasons after it was like,
Yeah.
And so I think that's why I was so pissed off.
Well, and if you were in
He
the
did
panel-
die, and I'm like, wait, he's coming back, right? They literally adopted God himself.
Like, no, it's just Dean the next 13 seasons.
No, I'm saying...
Sam's just a memory. It's like in Dexter. It's the dad just talking to him.
Well, season 15, they just got done adopting God, who is Jack. And so he gets stabbed in the most, mundane way, it feels like. And I'm like, obviously he's coming back.
Well, we'll get to that when we talk about the devils.
Well, screw these notes. I'm going off. We've got some things to talk about.
Stick to the notes.
Therapy session. Anyways, kind of a trick question. But does anyone know when the song Carry On was first played?
So the reason this is a trick question is because of streaming rights. So the original music for season 1 actually had Carry On in the penultimate episode of season 1. But if you watch it on Netflix, or you've only ever watched it on Netflix, it's not in there until All Hell Breaks Loose Part 2. So I just got the DVD and I've only watched the first episode, but it's all different songs and it is much, much better. And it's very cheap if you can find it on Amazon or eBay or anywhere it is. So
You still got a DVD player?
I do. I only have one, but I do have one.
What was Jesus like?
You were watching the DVD last night.
You're right. I was. What's the next one? Okay, so any fun? This is a good one. So the next one is Scooby Natural, which I love that. Did you guys know the writer of Scooby Natural is actually down in Artist Alley today, or this weekend he was? Jeremy Adams, who is currently doing a lot of cool stuff. He's working on the new Aquaman run for DC. He had been pitching that to them for a long time. He really
He's like, I
like
want to
Scooby.
Well, he was also talking about doing. It was really cool when you talked to him and asked about it. He gave us a whole story.
He had a script down there for it that you could buy and you could sign it and everything like that. And people were buying it and going over and having the cast sign it. Funny enough, so they're still here after this. If you want to go see him, yes, Jeremy Adams. He wrote it. He'd been pitching it. They kept saying no. And
That's a crazy idea. Have you seen the show?
So when all was said and done, they were expecting it to be some we got to pay some big crazy amount of money for it. It came out to being like $5 and rich people money, which was nothing at the
more
time.
affordable,
Yeah, and so they were super on board with it. And from there, he was trying to pitch an actual Scooby-Doo movie that had the supernatural cast in it. Unfortunately, that still has been denied. So maybe one day, if we all just sit there, bullying works sometimes, not all the time. I don't recommend it, unless you're wearing no shoes or socks at a convention like this, in which case I feel like you should be bullied. And then also at WB, Warner Brothers shuts down really good ideas.
Okay, so I wrote a fun fact down here, and now it's even cooler after we actually talked to Jeremy Adams, because I literally just realized this looking at it. So the TV that they're forced to destroy in the Scooby Natural episode is later fixed by Mrs. Butters in season 15, and that is another episode that Jeremy Adams wrote.
He did. He wrote that one. He worked on a couple of season 15 episodes.
That makes that fun fact so much more
It does.
fun.
It's really fun when you get to talk to them. We didn't realize. And I went over there and I was like, the Scooby Natural script, what the heck? Because I was going there to talk to them about comics, and then it's left turn, let's go. This is selling you my soul right now, actually. Tell me everything about this. What does Jensen smell like? I need to know.
Oh, there's a candle you can buy on the floor that says...
There actually is.
It's what teen smells like.
It was a nice little artist alley, funny enough. There's a little candle shop, but yeah, anyways, moving on.
Mystery Spot, which is supposed to be in Florida. Okay, so I grew up in Broward County. I didn't know that was supposed to be Florida the first time I watched it because it looks nothing like Florida. They're wearing jackets. Sam and Dean fight monsters all over the country.
Florida looks like Ohio, which looks like Illinois, which looks like Iowa, and then Idaho. What?
You didn't see the palm trees in pots?
I mean, I lived in Idaho for a bit, and I think I might have seen one pot, palm trees.
Plus, how would Dean not say something about going to the beach and seeing girls in Fort Lauderdale? Come on.
That's true.
That just didn't make sense. But at least Florida got one episode. So Mystery Spot, this is another one that kind of needs no introduction. This is when we get Gabriel the Trickster. It's the Groundhog Day episode where Dean continues to die, and the trickster thinks he's teaching the boys a lesson. So, obviously, I already said that. Oh, so fun fact though about this is, even though it's definitely not Florida, it's Canada, but that's also for any Once Upon a Time film, or fans, they film Once Upon a Time in that little town.
Oh, speaking of Ryan Curtis was giving us like some fun facts and too behind the scenes stuff. We got to talk to one of the guys, Ryan Curtis, who is a VFX artist on it and everything, and he gave us really cool fun facts, in which I was going to tie into Florida because I just thought about it and now I already forgot. So, anyways.
I have some of those tied into one of the episodes when we get to the band sets.
Batman here, prep time.
I do the pre-work for a lot of our stuff, and he does the post-work for a lot of our stuff.
I read what's on the project.
He does. He gets Ron Burgundy moments sometimes, because he'll read something, I'm like, oh, that was a typo on my part, but he just reads it, because he's Ron Burgundy. Okay. So, Rise and Shine, Sammy, is an actual nod to Groundhog Day, as we hear that one on the radio when Bill Murray wakes up in the movie. So, does anyone know what pick a poke is?
It's not like sausage for a pancake.
So it's actually, I mean, it might be something now, but what it means is it's something that is bought or accepted without knowing its value or seeing it.
I'm with him. I was over here thinking, that's not pigs in a blanket. We just roll up a hot dog and like in a pancake and it's 2 in 1 that
That
baby.
makes
Like,
sense, because you stuck the little toothpicks in the...
does that make it a sandwich then?
I don't know. So that'll be our panel next year. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Speaking of, I don't know why this relates, but the French Mistake is our third there. The boys are sent to the world where Dean is Jensen Ackles and Sam is something called Jared Padalecki. Love this because they're such good friends in real life, and so they did such a great job of.
Did anybody else Google after they watched this to see if they were really friends or not?
I was talking about it when we were waiting for the panel to the people around me, because they had allowed us to ask questions, I was going to ask them that.
Ooh, I wanted to ask Sam. Oh, go ahead.
No, I saw it in one of the panels, they were making fun of that. They're like, yeah, a lot of people thought we didn't get along. He goes, I also don't own an alpaca.
See, your question would have been good because my question would have been, Jared, you're 6'4", you're making the rest of us look bad. I have to walk around these streets looking mean so nobody punches me because every time you get touched or blown on, you fall over and not get knocked out. You're making us look bad, man. You have a reputation as a tall person out there.
So what was going to be your exact question?
Well, I was just going to ask, like, so during the episode, because they go through like the whole blood thing to turn themselves, like the producers are like they're talking to each other, so we thought that they hate each other. They also explained that like Genevieve was his wife, so everything else is accurate. So I was like, if everything else is accurate, then is that accurate too?
Right.
Ooh.
They just had to shift.
Never get yourself into a work, brother.
Yeah, I actually listened to that one then and now recently, and it's so funny to hear all their takes on the people. Because I guess I was, because I looked up Eric Kripke too. Now I know what he looks like because he's always talking about the boys, but I was like, I wonder if that's really Kripke. But Kripke, I guess you have to have a SAG card to actually be in the show, so the people who were the crew played themselves if they had a SAG card. They also said Eric Kripke can't act for it to save his life.
That's why he writes, okay? He writes really good stuff. He stops after 5 seasons and then moves on for a reason, all right? Those powers only work so much, all right?
But yeah, like you said, Genevieve and Jared are obviously married in real life, and Ruby shows up, and the photo is a real photo from their wedding. And Nisha did tweet those tweets in the show. He did that for real. I wonder, were any of you following him? I feel like that would have been so confusing.
What is happening?
So Misha wanted his character to be a total jerk, so pushing away the person, like after she was doing his hair, that was like an ad-lib. And Jared and Jensen are usually never called into the writer's room beforehand. However, this time they were because they wanted to make sure they were okay with getting made fun of. They're like, look, we're making fun of Jared and Jensen, we're not making fun of Sam and Dean, and we need to make sure you guys are okay with us. And they were all for it.
So wait, you guys are gonna totally be worried about how our characters feel, but you're fine, like, to making fun of me? Wait a second.
So I already just gave away this question real quick, but here's my trivia. Does anybody know what the greenest animal is? I just said it. Jared doesn't own it. It's an alpaca, yes.
These two people listen to you.
Yes.
For shame, for shame. Cass, you know what to do. This is your moment. You want to be a jerk. No.
Cass would never be a jerk.
Now, changing channels. No, he's just playing his soul. The Trickster sucks Sam and Dean into a TV show after a TV show. So this episode is not the first time Dr. Sexy is mentioned. Ooh. Chuck makes a comment when we first meet him that people just want to read Dr. Sexy. I mean, obviously, who doesn't? I want that book. I've been waiting on Amazon for how long now?
I'm sure.
Pre-ordered immediately.
It is not on Amazon, it's on some fan fiction website.
Actually, the car downstairs, baby, actually has one of the supernatural books, and like Fabio's on there all shirtless with his beautiful hair flowing and everything. It's the coolest thing ever. If you have not seen that car yet, it's got so much detail in the trunk of it. It is so cool.
I got to sit in it.
You got to sit in it? It was awesome. Those seats are so comfortable. I'm like, how can you just not fall asleep all the time? If I was pretending to be asleep in the show, I'd probably be asleep in real life.
We actually did an interview with them yesterday, so we're gonna have that up on
That means it,
YouTube.
yes.
They were super cool, super sweet. If you haven't checked out the car, it's right near the food court. So right near the
Yeah, the photo ops area. So when you walk out the photo op area right there, it's got baby sitting right there, and it's such they so much love, care, and attention to that car.
You get the Batmobile over there too.
They have like the grenade launcher even. So I've got like the funniest picture of Lauren driving the car. And
I was
it's
doing the thing when Dean
We're setting a
had,
slideshow. Like, here's Lauren.
Lauren.
Silliest face you'll ever see.
What I was doing. Okay, so do we have any more fun facts?
We have. No, we don't. All right.
Yes, we
Well,
do. The
last
actress who plays Dr. Piccolo, the one who keeps slacking Sam, calling him brilliant. She also plays Jenny. We don't like Jenny.
Nope.
She's the young woman who changed into a vamp in season 1 and later shows up in the finale and is the reason for Dean's demise. So we don't like Dr. Piccolo.
Ooh.
The actress we do like. She's a human being, but the character
She picture.
is much better by that.
What's our final one before we go into our underrated?
Wait, the blonde nurse later though is a
We have more
werewolf.
about blonde nurses? I thought we were talking
She
about
becomes
Asian
Mrs. Garth. So the blonde nurse in this episode becomes Garth.
That's what I thought of. Ryan Curtis told us, speaking of busty Asian beauties and blonde nurses, again, this is go off a weird path, but he told us they had to stop using busty Asian beauties in the show because it was offensive at a certain point. So CW actually told them, hey, we gotta cut that out. So in the later seasons, Dean's not so vocal about his addiction, if you will, because CW is like, hey, you have to stop
I think
that.
there's
This
boost
is
for
not
that on
okay.
the floor too, actually. So number 1.
Number 1 is Swan Song. This was Kripke's finale, hence the name. We see Bobby and Cass explode, meat chunks everywhere, Dean gets beat up. I mean, you could just, what episode are we sure? Dean gets beat up, Sam and Adam
I mean, he
go to
gets
hell.
like brutally beat
Sam
up.
probably gets knocked out, Dean's dead, I'm throwing water bottles, like all of it connects, it's all one episode.
So in this episode, Lucifer is showing Sam how he was never able to escape this destiny and that there were demons surrounding him always, including his prom date. So in a flashback, remember the Jinn episode where Dean thinks he's living the apple pie perfect life, but it's all a facade? Well, in that episode, Jess is still alive, and Dean was accused of sleeping with Sam's prom date, Rachel. So such a nice little attention to detail. All right, so we have some trivia now.
No, let's do trivia last. Let's get to I'm ready to talk. We need to talk about underrated episodes, and I also need to get this off my chest because
Okay.
we're going to talk about, I just finished the show. Yeah, we're going to make it about me for a second. So, I'm still not over it. You guys, 5 years
Still
ago, when we
processing
finished it, and you were like, oh, I've had 5 years to be mad and get over it. No, that's about how long it took me for Game of Thrones, but no, I just finished the show, so it is in my brain as why the hell did Dean get a boo-boo and die and stay dead when literally their son was God? Like, he doesn't show his face. Hey, thanks, we saved you how many times, Jack? The least you could do is, not have Sam be depressed and grow up alone. We get the sad montage, and then he's dying in his bed. Oh, come close. Oh, you're ready to go, Dad. And then they meet on the bridge. Like, that was great. However, the previous episode was the perfect finale. It's very fast.
No,
and
it
furious.
was perfect finale because Cass wasn't in it.
Well, Cass again wanted to fix heaven, and we didn't see Cass in heaven. So if
That's
Dean shows up in
my
heaven, we get
favorite.
Bobby, but Cass is nowhere to be seen. Like, I thought they were brothers. You were my brother, Cass. I loved you.
So I did see a clip with Misha that was saying before COVID, the plan was the Kansas actual band was supposed to be there playing Wayward Son. And then everybody was going to be meeting them in heaven, like all these old, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, all the old co-stars were all coming back, everyone was going to be there, so it was going to be really awesome. And it was supposed to end with like Cass and Dean at like the bar,
just never
or Sam
done
and Dean, they were at a bar. And Cass was supposed to be in it. And then because of COVID, everybody would have had to quarantine for like 2 weeks in their room by themselves, and that would cost a lot of money to put all of these people up for 2 weeks, especially like Kansas is, they're not spring chickens anymore. So
They
had
filmed
to
it in the woods. Just put some tents up.
But honestly, I would have rather waited 2 years for a proper finale. But I understand
I
they
waited
had
5, so.
to, they had to move on.
You had a question, sir.
Question. I was not, well, I answered this question. Have you seen the Winchesters?
I have not.
I actually did, and
Because they
that
canceled that.
I
So
did.
why am I going to give 1 season of my life just to be hurt again? I'm tired of being hurt. I'm still not over Santa Clarita Diet when Netflix canceled that after a cliffhanger on the
So mad
3rd
about that.
season.
we're all still mad about that. But the Winchesters did help me feel a little better.
Good.
I really liked the first episode of the finale, and I liked there was one with Rowena in it, and the Trickster. I liked those, but I didn't love it. But just seeing that, like, Dean was, I don't want to ruin it in case other people haven't seen it, because I know that's one everybody's like, yeah, I'll get to it eventually. But I liked seeing that there was still stuff going on, and he did not ruin canon. And I had an idea of where they were going to not ruin canon, and that's what they did.
Wasn't Tom Welling?
Tom Welling was in it, yeah, and he played Mitch Pagoletti, he played Mary's dad. And they make a joke about him having hair.
Which is, yeah, I was gonna say, like, that's Mary's dad, but Mary's dad turned out to be an asshole who needed killed too. Like,
well, then he turned out to be Clark Kent.
does it run in that family? Like, Mary sucks, her dad sucks. John Winchester left, disappeared. I thought I was watching my own childhood all over again with how often their dad would disappear. I went in depth as a comfort show, and, you know, all I came out with was reliving my own childhood trauma.
Do you know what Sam's LSAT score was?
I don't even know what an LSAT is, so
I'm just gonna shift.
All right, so let's go to our underrated episode. So we're gonna go back and forth. I'll give one, Lauren, you give one, and we'll kind of talk about it as well. So why don't you go ahead with your first underrated episode?
My first underrated episode is Mint Condition. So that is like season 13, and it's the Halloween episode. That's time to slice and dice.
That was amazing.
So I feel like that one does not get the recognition it deserves. I think because a lot of people stopped watching before that. So it's always surprises me how many people I talk to, they're like, oh, I love Supernatural. I stopped during the Leviathans, or oh, I only watched up to
Hey, but
Small
the
Song.
Leviathans wasn't even that bad in my opinion. I feel as though the slog really hit for like seasons 12 and 13. I feel like were the roughest one aside from this episode. 14 was dope. 14 was really good, and 15 was amazing. It's a shame that that last episode never happened, and so all we know is that Sam and Dean just drove off into the sunset together. It's very Fast and Furious. Everything is Fast and Furious.
It's all
It's all about family.
Can't do Fast and Furious. They only drink Corona. It's terrible. So also because we're a comic book podcast that we do comic books and Star Wars, and we talk all this stuff, and so I loved it that it was in a comic book shop. You got a nod to the Red Hood, who Dean has voiced. You see it in the comic book shop. And then I love when they're talking to the mom and Dean switches the mug so he has Flash. Like, there's just so many cute little things, and the fact that it's Halloween too just makes it extra fun.
I'm a sucker for really crappy B-rated horror movies. And I
And
don't know if you were
love
on the horror
it
panel
if
Friday,
Slice and
but
Dice was real.
if Slice and Dice was real, I was like, yes. So I walked around the house for a good while. I was like, it's time to slice and dice. I was like, my wife was like, if you say this one more time, I'm getting divorced. I was like, you're right, I can't in this economy. We got kids.
So what's your most underrated?
Mine is Last Call, actually, from season 15, episode 7. Dean, this is where Dean fights and sings with his friend, and they fight Roadhouse style. Roadhouse, I even unapologetically enjoyed the new one with Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor. It was terrible. Yes, he was okay. I mean, I go in there with low expectations, and that's what I typically do. So this one was awesome because the whole episode they're setting up, they're singing together. Man, do you remember the good old days? And then it turns out that his friend tried to feed him to the monster in the basement, and it's like, dude, what? And so they fight in the bar, and it's awesome. Again.
When you get Jensen singing. It's
Dude.
the good old boys. And they do the whole
That's the first time that's not the first time he's actually sing, but
Well,
like
that's the first time he sings on key, I think.
Yeah.
I know at one point there's one season where he's singing in the car and he was instructed to not sing well because they didn't get
He
it.
has a voice. Radio company.
It's literally playing right
It
now.
is
It's
playing
radio
right now.
company.
That's why they didn't answer your question about the alpaca. They're so entranced by Jensen's smooth
I think
voice.
that's what's playing.
Obviously.
So here's another one of my favorite ones, and you're not gonna like this. She doesn't like clowns. Plucky Penny Whistle's Magical Menagerie. I really liked that episode. I thought it was just so funny. So that's the one where the kids' nightmares are coming to life, and it's the one guy who, I think his brother had passed away, but they're at that place, and Sam hates clowns, and we find out it's because Dean was always ditching Sam there to be like, oh, you'll be fine here while I go and do this and whatnot. He's in charge of his brother a little bit. He needed some time to himself. I understand that. Not that it was okay, but you see Dean gets so excited about the giant slinky, and then Dean's talking about Shark Week. I love Shark Week. And then he gives Sam crap for not liking sharks. He's like, come on, man, it's a whole week of sharks. And then you get Sam covered in glitter. You get a unicorn farting rainbow.
Oh, this wasn't. For a second I was thinking this wasn't the one where the teddy bear commits suicide, right?
No.
Because I didn't put that on the underrated episodes, but for a second I thought it was, and my God, that was in my opinion, that was probably the best scene in the entire series. This teddy bear just shoots itself. It's alive for 5 minutes and blows a hole in it. It's like, what the fuck?
Why
What are we doing? And
tea party.
at the end, there's a bandage on the hole. I'm like, what? this family just takes this teddy bear back in. We're not gonna sit here. All right.
Did you catch in the panel, they asked the characters, what would your character be doing if they weren't like a hunter? Sam said teddy bear doctor. Yeah. And he said yoga instructor, which he did that in the Donna episode.
Oh my god. Insane. But farting unicorns.
That's what they kicked the episode off.
There are a lot of clown episodes, for
chest.
some reason. Anytime the clowns were on, I was like, oh no.
This wasn't a creepy clown. The earlier season, was it, I think early season 2, that was the creepy.
Yeah. That one's at least funny, you're right.
The first episode.
Yes, I think it was the first
It
clown
might have
episode
been
they
the
did.
second.
So
Yeah, it was early on. What?
Did you have any more about that one?
No.
Alright, let's go to mine. Mine is Hibbing 911, which is season 10, episode 8. This is where Jody and Donna, they work together for the first time, and when a supernatural being starts attacking the attendees, thrown in well and truly at the deep end, Donna adjusts relatively well to the world of vampires, and is more than pleased with her first kill as a newbie. And anytime Donna is in the show, and poor Jody, I don't know if anybody else notices this, but we were watching it. Anytime Jody is in the episode, you're guaranteed she's going to break her arm or get hurt in some way. I was like, why? What do you have against Jody?
They really
What
beat
did
her
she
more
do?
than anybody.
Literally every time she's in the show, I'm going to come help you guys. And she gets her arm snapped, and she's like, but she's such a true friend because she keeps coming back for more. I'm like, are you okay?
She's the mother they always needed.
She adopts kids,
Well,
you
she
know,
becomes,
obviously
like,
Catherine
foster
Newton,
mom.
and yeah. And she just keeps, that's what I'm saying, yeah, she keeps coming back for more, so really, like, were those kids just putting to the end? Like, I don't know. And Donna's great, I love Donna, so this is like their first time there with her, and getting to see just how awesome
They
it is.
try to make her not gorgeous in the show, and like she's so pretty.
Yeah, because when we first also see her, the next time we see her, she goes to the place where to need to lose weight, because then she had a course and
She's
everything,
pregnant
yeah.
in that episode.
Okay, yeah. And I was
She was
like,
like
what?
6 months pregnant, yeah.
It was insane, but that's what I have for that one.
So my next one is The Hero's Journey, which is season 15. That is the one where the boys are human. And I think what I love about that is it's a catch-all, because when he first started the show, he's like, I don't understand how they never get caught. I don't
My
understand how
first
they
thing,
make money.
they used to talk so much crap, like how are they just credit card
Oh,
fraud?
just keep watching.
They're getting beat up, they never get caught. What is happening?
They do get caught a lot early on.
Well, it don't make sense. God's plan.
Right. And so I love the catch-all of like, they were making fun of TV shows that are just like, yeah, the car never breaks down because they don't have time for it to break down. Of course, Dean doesn't get khakis even though all he eats is pie
And we can see Garth
and
again.
turducken.
Anytime we get Garth, and then in this, that's when he blows up. He's walking out cool. He blows everything up, and the big guy comes down there trying to fight him. And he's like, oh, I'm so
And
tired.
he gets kicked in the groin.
He
And
does.
like, I think my voice is higher. And my voice higher. And it's such a comical scene. And I just love that they're making fun of themselves. I just love anytime they make fun of the show and don't take themselves too seriously. Because it's a show that has some very
Well, they're
serious
like,
moments.
Dean's all about being a manly man. And so
Yeah,
this episode,
that's
he's
a lot.
going through the cavity pain, and his car's breaking down. This man is just going through it, right? And he's always there fighting. It's like, how are you beating these demons up? And then beating this guy's abs to no avail, and it looks like when, you know, a small child's trying to beat up the Hulk or something like that. And that was one of the better episodes, or She-Hulk, absolutely. Shout out to She-Hulk. So we need season 2, when's it coming out?
Yeah.
When are we getting season 2 of She-Hulk? This is an exclusive.
I hope we get one.
Will she be in Daredevil?
Will She-Hulk return in Avengers Secret War, or was she also cast in the next film for Christopher Nolan?
Well, if it's up to me, yes.
Alright, so what's your next one?
My next one is, and then there were none from season 6, episode 16. This one kind of irked me because I didn't realize this is where Rufus and Bobby die. And in the panel, if you're in the panel, the fun thing is as Bobby's dying, Jared was apparently squeezing, Jim Beaver's toes and playing it up and everything like that. And it was gross, first of all, feet. But yeah, he's like squeezing his toes, and so seeing the behind the scenes of it all is just ridiculous. But I was mad because Rufus is fine. But that's how
I
you
love
feel.
Rufus.
That's how you
I got a
feel.
body to bury or something. He does with the house.
And it's very, Danny Glover, I'm too old for this shit. And that's very Rufus right there. And I also love the dichotomy of, Rufus and Bobby together, because they're very just, contrasting and, well, just
You
grumpy
can
old
tell
men
them
at the end of the
they
day.
love each other.
Yeah, and so they both died in that episode, and I was like, okay, there goes Rufus. And then Bobby dies, and I was like, I text her right away, I was like, he's dead? Like, legit? What? Huh? We've got 14 more seasons or whatever at this point. How was he dead so early? Just keep watching. You're right. Of course, we get to see him, and he never gets to to have his rest because we got to go bother the poor guy in heaven and release his spirit and all this other stuff. But I really, really did enjoy that one a lot.
They didn't die in the same episode, though. Rufus died with a con worm.
Oh, it wasn't the same one. You're right.
So
I thought Bobby died in that one too, didn't?
No, Bobby
God,
died
guys,
when
this
he
is
shot that
embarrassing.
little
I came
button.
here for expert
It's
supernatural
only his
stuff.
first watch, guys. I'm sorry. All right.
Happens to the best of
He
us.
does love Bobby, though, and I remember years ago when I found out, oh my gosh, they cast Jim Beaver as Robert Singer in The Boys, and I had read the comics, so I knew it was Dakota Bob, which made it even cooler, and I'm like telling him, and he's literally rolling his eyes. And then, like, as soon as he started watching, he's like, Bobby's a real one, man.
I love Bobby. And it's so depressing too when you see that episode from his angle, the one episode where they're just everybody says, Bobby, I need you, Bobby, I need you. But Bobby needed them.
Oh, he needed
Nobody was
Bobby.
around. And that part was sad because you see how much of a father figure he is in their life, and then it was never quite reciprocated properly. And you
Well,
just, man.
that's what kids are ungrateful, and they're supposed to make you mad. Bobby even says that to his dad or his ghost.
Did you hear that back there? Kids are ungrateful. Your mom said so. What did you do? Where's the other one? Kaylee, you do. She doesn't have a favorite kid, but her favorite kid's definitely not here. Just kidding, guys.
All right, so my other one was Hollywood Babylon, which I had mentioned, and again, because they're making fun of
I have that one listed too.
I know.
That's right, I have the notes. She wrote the notes.
But you also had some fun Die Hard references.
What about Gilmore Girls?
And you get Gilmore's Girl shout out. I love when they're complaining about the weather. It's practically Canadian because they're in Canada.
It is.
It's very meta, and I felt like it was early on that they were doing these meta things, and it was one of those like, it was still a creepy story but it was making fun of Hollywood and the show, and I love that.
I love a good fourth wall break.
Yeah.
You know, when it's done properly and not overused, I love a good fourth wall break. So
It makes you feel like you're part of the show. Oh,
Yeah.
and the fourth wall break in the musical where they mentioned Destiel and Jensen looks at the camera. That was Jensen. Apparently he did that on his own and they kept it in. So I love when you hear that kind of stuff.
I mean, it is. That's what I love about Supernatural. It was one of the things that really drew me to the show. That you'd have these really serious episodes for a few episodes, and they wouldn't drag them on too much because they would give you a good palate cleanser. And they would give you these buddy cop episodes, which are my absolute favorite. Or you get the ultimate badasses that are the Ghostfacers. And so you get these really fun episodes with them, and Jensen and Jared would not be the main focus, and you're just blowing off steam for a couple episodes while still tying it to the main overarching, plot line. And that's honestly what really keeps me attached to the show. And some of my favorites is not every episode is great. Not every 15 seasons. You're not always
327 episodes.
Yeah, you're not always going to have a really great, stretch there, but it never quite lost me. And it's those buddy cop episodes that I think really kept things fresh for me.
Yeah. And we can keep talking underrated for a while, but I do want to do some trivia to pass out some koozies and stickers before we head. So I do want to talk the bottom 3 rated episodes. So the bottom, so it's Bloodlines is 327. That is the worst rated episode. I didn't hate it. How many people hated it?
I didn't hate it, I just kind of...
You said it sucks? It sucks? What did you not like
his
about it?
honesty, yeah.
It wasn't completed. I mean, obviously, we all know why. But,
Yeah, because it was supposed to be a backdoor pilot.
I mean,
It was awful.
You watch a show for 15, 16 years, and that's how you end it.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it's so badly rated.
Are you talking about Bloodlines or the finale?
Now.
Oh, the
Well, that's on
finale
here
sucks.
too. Yes.
No, Bloodlines was the backdoor pilot for the monsters
Yeah,
in
like
Chicago.
Chicago
The monster
and-
families. Like it was gonna be the mob. So it was like it was like a Romeo and Juliet where the werewolf girl like fell in love with the shapeshifter
Oh, that
boy.
wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that
I
bad.
didn't think
That's
it was
the
that bad, but
third
it wasn't
worst
great.
rated.
No, that was actually really
Or that was the worst rated, I'm sorry.
The worst rated should have
The
been a five.
finale was 325, Bugs was 326, and Bloodlines is 327. So Bloodlines is the worst
Come on, guys, do
rated.
better. Get out there on IMDb and rate the finale.
Alright,
worst.
which
Come on.
episode did Rufus die?
Which episode is one of those?
It's a honor. I was in
All
there
right.
with it.
Oh, you want to get back to this? Well, don't worry, Ackley's favorite episode. The Prisoner, season 10, episode 21. Because Charlie dies off screen. What the hell, man? Like, first of all, the Steins, I didn't like them anyways very much.
I thought it was a cool concept.
The concept was there, but you killed Charlie off screen. I feel like, again, you couldn't do her death on, it would have been too bloody or gory, but you also did her character a disservice because she's been there in such a very important part to their journey and their group. And again, she comes back, the other Charlie. But
They were
she's
more
in
upset about
her-
her than Adam.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, they just, Adam never got it. Screw that guy, Charlie. But it's, you kill one of your favorite characters off screen, and I just hate when that happens because, first of all, I was like, did Charlie die? And she confirmed, yeah, she's dead. And I had to look it up. I was like, no, they would not.
But she
you don't kill, there was no body.
kind of
right?
came back.
Rule 1 in horror, there's no body, they ain't dead.
We saw it.
But she's dead. And yeah, it was
And
just.
she got a hunter's funeral, and she's nobody.
I know, but at the time, at that second, I was like, no, she's not. It was just, I don't like that. It leaves a bad taste. I don't like the writing when you do that to one of your characters, so.
So is there anybody who liked the finale?
Good, you were gonna
They're
get
all on the same page.
I like the one before. That's
Yes.
That's when it should have ended, yes.
It was just kind of interesting because it's like it ended, and I remember sitting there because I was watching it live, but by that point I was like, that's it. And none of my friends had caught up yet, so I had nobody to talk to in that moment. I'm like, what do I do with all
You could
this
have told me,
pent-up
I never
energy?
would have remembered.
I did tell you, but you didn't watch the show.
Exactly, you did tell me, and I didn't
So you
remember.
didn't care. I think you just let me go off on the podcast for a couple minutes about how I did. I do remember you being shocked that I hated it. You're like, but you love the show, and I'm like, I know. And what do you? But now when I do my watch through, I go from I skip that one and I just go straight back to the pilot.
To me, it ends because you get this whole beautiful montage throughout the whole entire series, and then you're sitting there like, what could they possibly do next? And again, it's just depressing watching Jared go through life alone. It's like, no, like it's perfect if they brought it from the sunset. At least it's open-ended, because then you're wondering like, hey, maybe they went off and now they're continuing to hunt. Or personally, I think it would have been great to show like Jensen's character Dean that he does deserve to have a family. He is worthy enough now to have this normal life. After everything they did, they defeated God. Both deserve to have a family, in my opinion. And that would have been really well done.
True free will.
Instead, they killed him off, which in just the most lackluster way. And they brought back the one character, what's her name, who came back from like season 1 to showcase the vampire. Like, hey. And that was just like, oh, we're obsessed.
And how did Dean remember her name? My God, I forget people's names that I met one time a year ago, a month ago. I'm terrible at names. And he's like, Jenny? I'm like, it's been 15 years. You met her once, it was dark.
You never forget your first love.
I guess, maybe, that's what it is, I don't know. But we got some trivia real quick to wrap this up. I have 3 koozies.
What's your least favorite episode, real quick?
My least
What's your
favorite?
least
Oh,
favorite?
when Dean kills Amy Pond. The kitsune who was just trying to save her kid.
Oh,
It was very out of character.
I felt like it was very out of character. I do feel like he regretted it. That's why he had that guilt on him. And when that Egyptian god was like, doing the trial, he had all that, and I think it was from that because he knew he had messed up. Especially because they had gone so much from monsters being black and white to learning that they're gray and having guilt of like how many monsters did we kill that weren't actually monsters. And then Dean went and did that. And I think it was because he wasn't trusting Sam's judgment at the time, because he had just gotten his soul back and all that, but it wasn't cool, Dean, I didn't like it.
So trivia. I know you're dying for trivia. Here's some trivia.
Because we have like 2
We're the
minutes
final
left.
panel. You can kick us out. She said, hey, I'm leaving. You're the last panel. Take however long you want.
Just because I want to give out the stickers, and then if anybody does want a koozie, I have 3 koozies left. They say our podcast, Hot Geek News. And before you leave, if you want any stickers, we do have some stickers down here, and the one that looks like the Fantastic Four cover actually has baby at the bottom. So,
I got a good trivia question for you.
okay.
What character did I absolutely loathe but came to love?
Rowena.
What? Oh, you're crazy.
I hated her guts. I was like, die. You should have been. It should have been you, not Charlie.
When he said that, I was like, really? I loved her even in the beginning.
And then Rowena dies, and I'm like, why? No, she wants to go on adventures with Sam. You can't just kill Rowena. What are you doing?
Maybe that fell a little better.
And Lauren's like, get it together, man. Like, what is your problem? You wanted her dead 5 seconds ago. Like, Jesus.
Honestly, anytime he gets passionate about supernatural, I'm like, what is it like Crowley says, feel what I feel. So I'm happy about it. Feelings.
Strong
Right.
opinions.
What was Sam's LSAT score? Anybody know? This is the very first episode. Go ahead.
Is it 172?
No. Close.
Price is Right rules. I don't know.
I wonder if that's the one Elwood's got. Because I always.
Yours is 174.
No, that's Sam.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, nice.
Yes.
If you let one koozie, take the koozie.
Yeah.
Kaylee and Brielle, you got stickers, kids, get ready. Okay, what is Dean's favorite song? This is kind of a trick question. You know the episode where they're quizzing Sam and Dean on if they actually like Supernatural to get Barbara Edlund's address? These are the questions the girls asked. So it's a tie between Zeppelin's Ramblin' On and Travelin' Riverside Blues. All right, when's Sam's birthday? It's 6 months before November
I
2nd.
thought you were about to say before yours. I was like, nobody knows your birthday.
Yes, May 2nd. May 2nd, 1983. That's when Sam was born 6
All
months
right,
later.
smart one. When's Dean's birthday?
January 24th. Oh,
Come on, she had her hand up. You deserve it. You deserve it. Don't let, you know what? I'll give you her address. Feel free to egg her house. Actually, don't egg. That's very expensive. Use paint or something, whatever's cheaper.
Do you want a koozie? You can have a koozie too.
Good Lord. Do you want her credit card? I can give you that.
Fun fact, it's actually Eric
Treat
Kripke's
yourself on the floor. Everything's going
birthday.
half off down there anyways.
It's Eric Kripke's wife's birthday, so that's why he used it. And if you look at Jessica's tombstone after she dies, her birthday is January 24th as well. And there's a nod to it when Jensen is playing Soldier Boy in one of the Russian tapes. It's January 24th.
It's all connected.
It's all connected by Eric Kripke, our true Chuck.
It's true.
This one nobody got in our panel last year, so let's see if maybe you got it. What is Charlie's real name? Oh,
It's Celeste.
yes.
You know what? Yeah.
It
Charlie.
is Middleton.
She was born Celeste Middleton. Yes.
So nobody got that in our panel last year. But I mean, I only know that because I looked it up. But she goes by Charlene Bradbury, also known as Charlie. Okay,
She
you
goes,
can
my
ask the
character
next
killed
one.
off in the bathroom and then off screen.
Alright, you ask the next one and I'm gonna put my knife down.
Yeah, go away. Close your eyes. What kind of monster was Sam's friend who took the name Amy Pond?
It's the one we were just talking about,
The kids.
yeah.
Yes.
Kitsune.
You said it.
Kitsune.
Do you want a fancy koozie? This is the best. Oh, I thought I had it so good. I was like, look at that trajectory. And that is why I'm not in the NFL. I'm doing a fun supernatural podcast.
So what song did Mary sing to Dean when he was little?
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
No, it's not a nursery rhyme.
Happy birthday.
That would be baby on his birthday. What are you, Buddy the Elf? What song did I sing to you on your birthday? Why, happy birthday, of course.
Okay. It's a Beatles
It's
song.
Hey Jude. Hey Jude. Which he plays when he's a demon on the piano. I felt like that was a hint to his human side is still in there. What item did Crowley plant in the Impala after he met the Winchesters? He did this to spy on them.
Coin.
Yeah.
Give that man a sticker. What DC character is Castiel dressed up as? And he was here this weekend too.
Constantine.
Yes,
Yeah.
come on, Constantine. I don't understand that reference. That was in, I think the 200th episode.
What's the name of the monster who has vampire teeth, a wraith spike, and shape-shifting abilities?
Yes,
Yes.
Jefferson Starships. What item was the key to open the doors to hell?
The cold.
The cult, yes.
Yes.
And our last question.
What 3 things do you need to summon a crossroads demon?
If you know just one, let us know.
A picture of yourself?
Yes, a picture of
Yes.
yourself. And you also need some graveyard dirt and a black cat bone. I didn't know about the black cat bone. I had to look that one up. But graveyard dirt and
Congratulations, you get her back.
No, you don't.
Wallet included.
So that's just a little bit of trivia. That's everything we have for the panel. Thank you guys so much for coming out. This is
Yes, thank you guys. This is Lauren's local here to Orlando, so this is her home show. I come down from Virginia. We do a weekly show every single week. Mondays is when we come out, and if you're excited for Captain America coming up on Friday, we are going to discuss on tomorrow's episode the dive into the leader, Red Hulk, and a little bit about Sam Wilson
Recap
stuff.
Falcon
Recap
Winter
Falcon Winter
Soldier.
Soldier, get you ready. And then my last favorite is, could we take a selfie with everybody in the background? I love for our collection to put on our website and everything like that, to just add up our con photos and stuff, and hopefully we'll see you guys next year as well.
Yes. And if you want to follow Just Match Journey on our YouTube channel, I have Just Supernatural
Yes.
playlist. So if you're like, I don't want to talk about Captain America. I just want to talk about Sam and Dean.
All right, guys, let's do this. Get a picture together.